10 men kneel before you begging for food. They don't recognize you, but you recognize them. They're your brothers. The same brothers who threw you into a pit and sold you to slave traders when you were 17. That was 22 years ago. Now you're the second most powerful man in the world, and they're on their knees starving with no idea who you are. This is how you got here. You're 17 years old and your father loves you more than your 11 brothers combined. Everyone knows it. He doesn't even try to hide it. He made you a coat, a long ornamental robe with colors that nobody else in the family wears. A coat that says you're the favorite. You wear it proudly because you're 17, and you don't understand yet what jealousy can do to the people closest to you. Your brothers look at that coat and they see everything their father never gave them. They can't even say a kind word to you anymore. Then the dreams start. In the first dream, you and your brothers are binding wheat in the field. Your bundle of wheat stands upright, and all 11 of their bundles bow down to yours. You tell them about it because you're young and naive, and you think dreams are just interesting stories. Their faces darken. In the second dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bow down to you. Even your father raises an eyebrow at that one. Your brothers don't raise eyebrows, they raise hatred, because from their perspective, their little brother just told them he's going to rule over all of them one day, and they decide that day will never come. Your father sends you to check on your brothers in the fields near Shechem. You walk for days to find them. When they see you coming across the open land, still wearing that colorful coat your father gave you, they don't see a brother. They see everything they despise. They grab you. They strip the coat off your back. They throw you into an empty cistern, a dry pit in the ground, and they sit down to eat lunch while you scream from below. Your own brothers eating bread while you beg for your life at the bottom of a hole. Then they see a caravan, merchants heading to Egypt with spices and perfumes on their camels. And one of your brothers has an idea. Why kill him when we can profit from him? They pull you out of the pit and sell you 20 pieces of silver. That's your price. The price of a teenage slave. The merchants chain you and add you to their cargo, and you watch your brothers disappear into the distance as the caravan heads south toward Egypt. They take your coat, dip it in goat's blood, and bring it to your father. He believes you're dead. He tears his clothes and mourns for weeks. And you, chained to a camel train, heading into a foreign country where you know no one and speak no language, are completely alone for the first time in your life. Egypt swallows you whole. You're dragged through markets where people bid on human beings like livestock. You're sold to a man named Potiphar, captain of the royal guard, one of the most powerful officials in the kingdom. You go from favorite son to household slave in a matter of weeks. You scrub floors, you haul water, you do whatever you're told by people who see you as property, not a person. But something in you refuses to break. You work harder than anyone else in that house. You learn the language faster than anyone expects. You learn the customs, the culture, the way Egyptians think and trade and organize. You earn trust through sheer relentless competence. And slowly, impossibly, you rise. Potiphar sees something in you that his other servants don't have, a quality that transcends slavery. He puts you in charge of his entire household. Everything he owns passes through your hands. For the first time since the pit, life is starting to work again. Then Potiphar's wife notices you. Day after day, she tries to pull you into her bed. Day after day, you refuse. You refuse because it would be a betrayal of the man who trusted you with everything he has. And one day, when you're alone in the house, she grabs your cloak. You pull away and run, leaving the garment in her hands. And just like that, the second coat in your life is used to destroy you. She tells her husband you attacked her. She holds up your cloak as proof, and Potiphar, the man who trusted you, throws you into prison. You did the right thing, and it cost you everything. Again, prison. A foreign prison in a foreign country. Locked up for a crime you didn't commit. Thousands of miles from a home where your father thinks you're dead, and your brothers have forgotten you exist. Most people would break. Most people would give up on whatever power they believed was guiding their life. You don't. In prison, you do what you did in Potiphar's house. You work, you earn trust, you rise. The warden puts you in charge of the other prisoners. And then one night, two of them have dreams they can't understand. One is the royal cupbearer, the man who serves drinks directly to the king. The other is the royal baker. Both were imprisoned for offending the ruler. Each has a dream on the same night. You interpret them. The cupbearer will be restored to his position in 3 days. The baker will be executed in 3 days. Both predictions come true exactly as you said. You ask the cupbearer one thing before he leaves. Remember me. Tell the king about me. Get me out of here. And the cupbearer walks out of that prison, returns to the palace, and forgets you completely. For 2 full years. 2 years. 730 days of waiting in a cell for a promise that was never kept. Forgotten by the one person who could have helped you. You're now 30 years old. 13 years since your brothers threw you in a pit. 13 years of slavery and prison and betrayal and silence. And then, like a bolt from the sky, everything changes. The king of Egypt has two dreams that terrify him: 7 fat cows eaten by 7 thin cows, 7 full heads of grain swallowed by 7 dried ones. Every wise man in the kingdom tries to interpret them and fails. And finally, 2 years too late, the cupbearer remembers the young man from prison who got his dream exactly right. They pull you out of the dungeon. You shave, because Egyptians don't tolerate beards in the royal court. You change your prison rags for clean clothes, and you stand before the most powerful ruler on earth, a man who commands armies and builds pyramids and holds the life of every Egyptian in his hands. He tells you his dreams, and you tell him what no one else in the kingdom could. 7 years of abundance are coming, harvests so massive the country won't be able to contain them. And then 7 years of famine, so severe it will erase everything the good years produced. The Nile will shrink, the crops will fail, entire nations will starve, unless you store the grain now. The king doesn't just listen, he acts. He takes the signet ring off his own finger and puts it on yours. He drapes fine linen robes over your shoulders. He hangs a gold chain around your neck. He gives you a chariot and authority over the entire land of Egypt. Everyone in the kingdom will answer to you. In one afternoon, you go from a forgotten prisoner in a dungeon to the second most powerful person in the known world. You're 30 years old, 13 years of suffering, and it all led to this room and this moment. For 7 years, you traveled the length of Egypt, building storehouses, collecting grain, organizing the largest food reserve the ancient world has ever seen. The harvests are so enormous that you stop counting because the numbers are beyond measure. You marry. You have 2 sons. You name the first Manasseh because God made you forget all your suffering. You name the second Ephraim because God made you fruitful in the land of your affliction. The good years feel like a dream. Then the good years end, and the famine begins. It's worse than anyone imagined. The crops die. The rivers shrink, the surrounding nations begin to starve, and Egypt, the only country that prepared, becomes the only source of food in the region. People come from every direction to buy grain, and among them, walking into your throne room with empty bags and desperate eyes, are 10 men you haven't seen in 22 years, your brothers. They bow before you with their faces to the ground, exactly the way your wheat dream predicted when you were 17. They don't recognize you. You were a teenager the last time they saw you. Now you're clean-shaven, dressed in Egyptian linen, wearing a gold chain, speaking a different language, sitting on a throne. They have no idea. You recognize them instantly. Every face, every voice. The men who threw you in a pit and sold you for silver and told your father you were dead. They're standing in front of you, bowing, calling you Lord, begging for food, and you have the power to do anything you want to them. You could imprison them. You could starve them. You could execute them and no one would question it. Instead, you test them. You accuse them of being spies. You demand they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, the only other son of your mother, the one brother who had no part in your betrayal. You keep one of them as a hostage and send the rest home. And secretly, you put their money back in their grain sacks. They return with Benjamin, your little brother, now a grown man, standing before you for the first time in over 2 decades. You have to leave the room because the emotion hits you so hard, you can't hold it together. You go into a private room and weep. You wash your face. You come back. You serve them a feast, and you give Benjamin 5 times more food than the others, watching to see if the old jealousy rises in them the way it rose against you. It doesn't. Something has changed. You test them one final time. You plant a silver cup in Benjamin's sack and send soldiers to catch them on the road. When the cup is found, you declare that Benjamin will become your slave. And this is the moment that breaks the story open. Your brother Judah, the same one who suggested selling you into slavery 22 years ago, steps forward. He doesn't run. He doesn't abandon Benjamin the way they abandoned you. He begs you to take him instead. He offers himself as a slave so that Benjamin can go free. Because if Benjamin doesn't come home, their father will die of grief. The man who sold one brother is now willing to become a slave to save another. You can't hold it anymore. You send every Egyptian out of the room, and standing alone before your brothers for the first time since they threw you in that pit, you break. You weep so loudly the entire palace hears it, and through the tears you say the words that have been trapped inside you for 22 years. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? Your brothers can't speak. They're frozen in terror. The brother they sold into slavery is the ruler of Egypt. The man who controls whether they live or starve is the boy from the pit. And then you say the thing that no one expected. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, to save lives, to bring us to this exact moment. Don't be afraid. I forgive you. You send for your father. Wagons loaded with food and supplies and Egyptian gifts head north toward Canaan. When the wagons arrive and your brothers tell your father the news, the old man's heart nearly stops. Joseph is alive, his son, the boy he mourned for 22 years. The child he believed was torn apart by wild animals. He's alive, and he's the ruler of Egypt. Your father doesn't believe it at first, how could he? But when he sees the wagons, the provisions, the proof that only a man of immense power could send, something reignites inside him. He gathers everything he has, every animal, every servant, every grandchild, and begins the long journey south to Egypt. You ride your chariot out to meet him on the road, in Goshen. And when you see the old man approaching, frail and gray and trembling, you jump from the chariot and run to him. You fall on his neck and weep, and he holds you the way he held you when you were a boy in the colorful coat. 22 years of separation, of grief, of silence, ending in one embrace on a dusty road. That's your story. Sold by your brothers at 17, enslaved, falsely accused, imprisoned, forgotten, and then elevated to the second highest throne in the world just in time to save the lives of the very people who destroyed yours. You didn't become powerful to take revenge. You became powerful to provide. The pit, the chains, the prison, the years of silence, all of it was the road to this room where 10 men kneel before you and you choose mercy over justice. That's Joseph, the boy in the pit who became the man on the throne, the slave who saved a nation, the brother who forgave the unforgivable.